Hey everybody, James Robert Elliott here. I'm here with Aaron Drahan, and he is a performance coach. Him and I had a great conversation last week, so I wanted to have him on my show this week. And we're going to be talking about why goals fail and what the heck to do about it. So welcome, Aaron. Thanks for being here.
Hey, James. Thanks for having me. Yeah, looking forward to continuing the great discussion.
Right on, brother. Right on. Right on. Well, let's get right to it. Why do goals fail? Why do people's goals fail? Let's figure out the why and then what to do about it later. But why do they often fail? What happens?
Yeah, that's quite the timely question for the period that we're in right now,
Right.
starting early February. And
True.
it's pretty interesting to see what the data shows, most especially around New Year's resolutions, right? Just over a month ago, we were all setting new initiatives, new goals, really looking to make that step forward to make this year a better year than last year. But the data shows that 64% of people don't make it into February with their goals intact. So
That's bananas.
yeah,
That is absolutely bananas. That it's like over half, almost two thirds, not quite, but almost 2/3 of people don't make it into February. I've even heard as little as 17 days sometimes on average. It's
right.
bananas.
Yeah, and I think this is such a pressing question right now because for a lot of people hearing this, they're probably connecting some dots in their own mind of saying, yes, I'm already off track. Maybe I haven't thrown in the towel just yet, but I'm not where I wanted to be on that new thing I started just last month. And so when you start peeling the layers of the onion back and really identify the two biggest culprits that get in the way of goal attainment, number one is all around the lack of systems to properly track and measure progress of the goal. Research has found that if you don't have a good system in place to where you're actively and effectively measuring progress, the end result becomes the same as almost not even having a goal to begin with. So it's kind of
It
crazy
is.
how important that is. And number two is the misalignment between short-term priorities and the long-term goal. I think we all get swept up in the tornado of fighting the daily fires, and before you know it, we're so busy reacting to the day-to-day that we've gotten off course to doing the things that matter most for the long-term goal.
Yeah, you get stuck in that minutia or sucked into battling fires or whatever, and you're like, oh my god, it's like 5 or 6 o'clock. Do I want to work more? Do I want to stay late? Do I have the energy to? And because it's like I still got lots to do. That happened yesterday. Actually, it was a great day, and it was like, okay, I got some stuff done, and myself even I'm not. I can have calls and talk to people, do certain things later on in night, but past like 3 or 4, I'm not very creative, so it's hard to do creative, thinky stuff versus having conversations.
Right.
Fine. So I think we get into that trap. So I what I think I heard was that a lot of things is people quit because oftentimes the motivating factor, if goals aren't measured, it's almost as bad as not even having a goal at all. The other statistic I've heard too is like it's like in the 90s, 95, 96% of people who have goals don't write them down. And they don't put them in some place that's like have it in your mirror in your bathroom. Oh yeah, that's right. This is the boat or the car or the job or the whatever financial thing. That's right. And it keeps your brain front and present to that and motivated versus to your point, not having and not measuring towards that or not writing it down. It's as good as really almost as good as having no goal.
That's right. It all comes down to how are you prioritizing your priorities,
Sure.
right? And yeah, without some type of system in place that keeps not only the goal top of mind, but really going a layer deeper is what needs to be true? What are the key dependencies for this goal to happen? Because I think that that's another symptom of a lack of systems is we're so focused on the outcome. We're looking at that flashing sign on the top of the mountain that we know we want to get to, when instead we're not programming in the one step ahead, the two steps ahead. We're thinking way too much and focusing way too much on the outcome versus the process. When you sit back and really think about it, the goal and goal attainment is nothing more than the output of a number and series of inputs that go in. So if you're not focused on those inputs, you're not going to make the steps and see the progress and reach the milestones that ultimately lead you to goal achievement.
It's that, I suppose, garbage in, garbage out. If you want $1 million or a car or something, and you're over here doing all this other stuff, you're not working on your business or not working on what you want, you're not going to get what you want. And it's interesting. I don't like any extreme. I think any extreme is not ideal, right? Whether it's the extreme of focusing and obsessing only on the what. Like I want I want a Nissan GTR. I would love to have a Nissan GTR sports car, or $1 million goal for finance or whatever it is. Exclusively focusing on that is a trap. But also, I think, and I'd love your thoughts on this, people who exclusively focus on and worry about and obsess on exactly how I'm going to get there, I think that's a trap too. While having steps, absolutely. Okay, I want to go here. Here's a milestone. This is the next step. Here's a few steps. But I find that life also reveals to you. I mean, you and I were talking about the wild and wacky and wonderful things that have happened. And if someone had said, okay, Aaron, you're going to be here, and this is what's going to happen to you, and this is what's going to do in 5-10 years, they said that to you or I, we think they're nuts. Right. But again, either extreme, having too much focus on the end goal, or not enough focus, or too much focus on the how. Not knowing at all where to start, then I think that is a trap too, because it's just a pie in the sky goal here of, well, I want a car, I want $1 million, I want a spouse or whatever. Okay, well that's too great, and let's chunk down a bit. Okay, how are we gonna get there, and what are the first few steps anyways? What let's switch gears to what to do about it. And we've talked a bit about this as well, but what to do about it? What do people ideally need to do to make sure they get their goals and avoid failing with their goals?
I think you just gave the listeners a great hint with what you just said. And chunking down seems so obvious. Breaking it down into the smallest bite-sized components is such a critical component, but something that's so easily overlooked. Why? Well, it could be for a number of reasons. It actually takes the time to strategically think, to work backwards from the end result, to kind of asking yourselves the series of questions that if I want to be here in 12 months, or I want to achieve this in 12 months, well, let's work ourselves all the way back to, well, where do I need to be a month from now to be on track for my 12-month goal? And then based on where I need to be 1 month from now, what then do I need to determine my single biggest priority this week to make the progress to being where I want to be in 1 month to be on track for my 12-month goal? And so it
has to be done this week, or I don't party, I don't play, or whatever.
That's right. And then that thing, or it kind of goes back to, it's amazing how Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule, shows up in so many different areas of our life. But if that priority for this week is your 20% that's going to make that 80% leap in progress and productivity, how are you treating it? If you're leaving it up to randomness, it's not on your calendar, you haven't allocated the time, you're not blocking out the time to give it the attention and focus that priority deserves. When we put ourselves in a battle on the randomness of everyday life, we're going to lose every single time.
It's pretty random.
The short-term reactionary fires have a very strange way of morphing into the greater priority to do today, or this hour, or this week. And so when you can reverse engineer the steps that need to be created into the short-term, bite-sized, chunk down milestones, that makes all the difference. And then we tie it back to that first principle, which is, how are we measuring? How are we monitoring? How are we tracking? Because to your point, it's not going to be a linear up and to the right. we're going to prioritize some things that work, some things that don't work. There's going to need to be recalibrations along the way. But if we're not tracking and measuring, we don't know what's driving our progress. And most importantly, we don't know what's not driving our progress. So without tracking and measuring, you don't know what you don't know. So therefore, how exactly are you going to make the required changes to get back on track? So I think it's a combination of those two things. Are you chunking down to the most bite-sized form? What's going to be the priority this week for my long-term goal? And then how am I measuring and tracking? Is this making the impact that's expected?
Fair. I like that. And the two, if it is working, well, let's spend more time or money, energy on this. If it's not working, let's either stop it or change it or tweak it or see if we can get it working. Or if that's not working, we'll stop that, keep this thing going, maybe try something new that may work. And to your point, if you don't know whether it's ads, Facebook ads or Google ads or SEO or referrals or lead magnets or whatever is making you the most money, well, then you don't know whether to prioritize that. And well, if it's referrals making the most money over ads, referrals are often free. So, or create an incentive program, or just take every referral partner that's ever referred to you out to lunch and take people out to lunch who haven't referred you yet, but maybe promising, and talk to them. Ask people. Ask. You don't ask, you don't get. Ask them for referrals. So I love what you're saying about the high chunk levels, the low chunk levels. What do I need to do this year, this month, this week, and this day? And maybe put some boundaries in there or consequences. If I get it done, I don't go to the spa or have ice cream or go to the movies or rock concert. If I don't get it done, well, then I guess I'm working Saturday and I play when this thing is done. I find that not punishment, but consequence, if you will, helps you have more boundaries, because it's like, ooh, shiny, or ooh, squirrel. But it's like, well, no, if I follow that squirrel, follow that shiny, that means I'm working Saturday or I'm working Friday night till late. No, let's get back at 5. At least I find that helps me stay more focused.
No, 100%. I think what you just explained too is also around positioning, right? And so when we have these systems in place, we're tracking and measuring those different options that you just kind of went through, allows us a lot of different options to do that recalibration, right? So sometimes it's going to be the reflection of, wow, this is working really well. The best course of action for me is going to be to double or triple down on this. How do I continue to lean in on this? The insights can also reflect back to you that, wow, this is not working like I expected. What can I do and how will I change it? So what exactly will I start doing differently next week? And then there could be a combination of the two. I know this is working really well. I wasn't able to get to it. So that then allows you to see what's getting in the way. What are the obstacles? What are the challenges? What are the things that I need to move out of the way for me to then be able to focus on this, but without chunking down and then measuring and monitoring the progress? You'll never be able to discover those insights to make high quality decisions that then drive momentum forward. You're going to be at the mercy of your busy schedule. I'll get back on track next week, next month, whatever it is. You might as well throw in the white towel, because if you get into that vicious cycle, it's so hard to pull yourself out of it. Where systems and chunking down and having short-term priorities that are aligned with the long-term goals prevent you from that deadly falling too far behind, where that sign at the top of the mountain it looks and appears so far away that we throw in the towel and say, well, we'll pick this up again next year, type of thing, and go back to status quo.
Fair. And like you said, and then it's like, wait, yeah, next year we'll do the goal next year. I'll start next January for some, but no, it's pick it up, do it. And I like how you said something. I was tracking this yesterday as well, because I didn't get quite as much done as I needed. And it was like, I need to really track, to your point, what not just what is working, but what gets in my way, what distracts. Because sometimes it's just people, life gets in my way. Well, what specifically? Everything. Well, you can't change everything. You can't shift or eliminate boundaries on everything. What is it? TV? Is it scrolling? Is it social media? Is it doing too many emails. Well, maybe you should hire a VA. What is actually getting? Is it calls? Maybe you should hire a appointment setter or a salesperson, or is it emails? Maybe you should have someone, whatever, respond to emails for you and alert you to the really important stuff. So you have me thinking of that too, and so I'm going to start taking stock as I did yesterday. I'm like, what are the things that get in my way and distract me or take the most time? And can I either stop them or do them a different way or outsource them? If it is an important thing, can I outsource that for $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 an hour and get my time back, my energy back, focusing on things that are important for me and that I love, and that make me the money, but also give me more time to do fun stuff because I'm not doing stuff that I could pay someone, $4, $5, $6 an hour or whatever, or even $10 an hour. Which is genius. I appreciate you being here. Any last points for people on why goals fails and what to do about it?
No, I think, let's not let our busyness get in the way of our priorities. And, it was a lot of people won't probably want to hear it this directly, but I had to hear it this way and it really helped me. But, distractions and busyness is just another way of kind of saying you're mismanaging your priorities. And when we are clear on what the priority is, it kind of goes back to the age-old saying is the most important thing is keeping the most important thing the most important thing. So if you're struggling with that piece of it, I think it's fair to zero in and understand what are those secondary and tertiary priorities or opportunities that's keeping you from laser focusing in and keeping the top priority the top priority.
I love that. And to your point, I think there's a book, Keep the Main Thing the Main Thing, or I can't remember. It's exactly what you said. I love that as a great sum up. It's like keep your priority focused on that and know where you want to go, and then know maybe the next few steps without worrying about the minutiae of exactly how you're going to get there. Because again, as your life and my life has proven, who knows? Who knows? It's a wonderful ride. So ride the river on your cool river boat and see where the river takes you. And also, yes, have a plan. Well, okay, I need to get a boat. I need to get in the river. I need to get a paddle and at least know the next few steps. I got to hire a captain to the boat or something like that, whatever it is, metaphorically. I love this. I'll have you back. Go ahead.
And I was just going to say, and don't be afraid to flex the no muscle. Like, don't feel compelled to say yes to everything. Part of keeping the top priority is then being able to clearly say no to everything that doesn't support that initiative. Very hard to do, but those that reach that success, as Warren Buffett says, the most successful people say no to almost everything. Is because they can laser focus on knowing what the top priority is.
Right on. Exactly. And instead of lighting up a piece of paper like a light bulb, when you bring that and focus that energy like a laser, you can start a spark, you can start a fire and make something happen versus just a light bulb that illuminates. So I love this, brother. This has been amazing, Aaron. Thank you for being here. How can people reach you? I've got it on the screen here, but tell us how we can reach you.
Yeah. I think the website you see there below is going to provide you kind of definite more insight into my methodology, the approach of kind of cultivating the performance mindset and performance mindset operating system. So yeah, feel free to visit performancemindsetcoaching.co. Feel free to connect on LinkedIn. And it's what it's all about, making progress to achieve the things that we want to achieve.
I love it. I appreciate you being here and helping give value to people in the world. Thank you for coming. And everyone, thanks.